Now, it's up to President Cyril Ramaphosa to appoint judges to the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court of Appeal. This after the Judicial Services Commission has recommended 5 judges following the grilling process last month. What's the significance of this process and what does it entail? Well, to respond to this, I'm joined now by Mbekezeli Benjamin, a researcher at Judges Matter, joining us now from Cape Town. Mbekezeli, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Yeah, it is a very laborious process, a long process. I understand currently there's there were like 88 nominees, people from different judges and lawyers from different sides to fill in these 21 odd vacancies in different courts across the country. But my interest is around the Constitutional Court one, really, because we know that the Chief Justice Mogoeng is going to be ending his term later this year. I understand in that process is now down to 5 names from which the President must choose 2. Am I correct?
Good afternoon, Dan, and good afternoon to the eNCA viewers. Thank you for having us. You're quite correct to say the 5 names have been, the JSC has sent 5 names to the President, from which he must pick 2 to fill 2 vacancies on the Constitutional Court. At the moment, the position of the Chief Justice has not yet been filled. That's a process that's going to follow later this year because he retires in October. And so that process will follow separately. But this one specifically was speaking to 2 vacancies on the Constitutional Court.
Yeah, how important that such a process for selecting Constitutional Court judges is done the way it's been done with the JSC and people being interviewed and asked about their past and what they stand for. How important is, I mean, why should I care about this process?
This process is vitally important for all of us. We all need to pay attention to how judges are appointed, because at the end of the day, judges determine a lot of our rights and our freedom in terms of the Constitution. So if you have a house, for example, and if you're paying it for bond, let's say you fall back on your payments, a judge will ultimately decide whether or not you stay in your house or you are kicked out. So judges are important to our day-to-day lives. It's important that we follow the interview process and that it's open to all of us, the media and the public. We do, however, have some concerns about how the process is unfolded in terms of the nature of the questions that are asked, and there seems to be some unfairness in terms of the length of the questions, of the interviews for particular candidates. So those are the things that we hope that the JSC will improve. But generally, to have these interviews open to the public is a very good thing.
I mean, your organization, Judges Matter, sort of monitors and observes what happens in this judicial space, particularly with the judiciary broadly, which we know recently has been under attack here and there, lots of questions being asked. Would you be very comfortable as Judges Matter to be submitting ideas to the likes of the JSE how to proceed if you've got concerns about the kinds or the nature of questioning that we've seen recently?
We, in fact, already do that. We, as Judges Matter, spend a lot of time monitoring these interviews, doing the research on the law and on how the practice of appointing judges unfolds. We compare this with how it's done in other countries, and the lessons from those other countries, we try and bring them to South Africa and put forward to the JSC to implement. So some of those recommendations, the JSC has heard them, but we hope that they would pick up a lot more, particularly on this issue of them having a criteria for how judges are appointed, and so that it will guide the interviews and ensure that it's fair to all candidates.
Yeah, I was just about to say fairness would be one of the main things you'd be concerned about, in addition to transparency and the robust nature of the process. Finally, before I let you go, Mbekezeli, the President now has to choose 2 from the 5 recommended names in terms of the Constitutional Court, and then later in October, when Chief Justice Mogoeng vacates or ends his term, we're expecting the next Chief Justice to be appointed. Is that an immediate process?
Well, the process should start immediately, we believe. We actually are saying that the Judicial Services Commission must have a special sitting in July of 2021 instead of waiting until October. In that July sitting, they must advertise the position of the Chief Justice and call for nominations, and then those candidates must be interviewed, so that ahead of the official retirement of Chief Justice Mogoeng, we already know that who will be the next Chief Justice. So there is no vacuum in terms of the leadership of the judiciary.
Okay,